All right, welcome back everyone. In today's episode, we are going to be installing a front block, a VASA, and the banjo bolt, which is part of the front block. And this is going to go on a mini, but in essence, you can just use a plug in here if it's a full size. So I don't need to do one on a full size. But let's start off with the tools that we are going to need today. And first off, you're going to want to have yourself a nice set from 0.05 up to 3/8 inch. And we have a set of Bondis here, Allen keys. You may need, and I highly recommend it, if it's a brand new build and it hasn't been assembled before. It's an MPT 1/8 inch by 27 tap. You may need this. And lubricant, we have some Dow 33. We'll probably be using Slick Oleum here. Put that aside, some sort of a rag, and we're going to need green Loctite. And although the label is off of this, this is the Loctite brand, and it's 680 is the number. And this is what Shocktech recommends. It's what they use for installing the components that we're going to install today. So you're going to need some 680 Loctite. You can use the blue stuff, and it's a 542 if you don't have 680, but they do not recommend it for some of these applications. So we'll go through that when we get in there. But let's start off, let's set the body at the side. If we don't need that there, we're going to set the LPC chamber off to the side, and this little set screws is set off so we don't lose it off to the side. And we're going to start with the body, or the front block, the VASA, and then potentially the tap. All right, so if you've bought a brand new Shocktech kit and you're assembling it for the first time, you may need to tap these threads a little bit bigger after anodizing. And that's normal. Shocktech does this on all of their guns that they manufacture. The key thing to do is you should be able to screw this in fairly easy until you have about an 1/8 inch gap there, and it should start to tighten up. If you screw it in and it only goes about half or quarter way and it's tight, you risk the chance of snapping this off when you install it, because when it's installed, it goes all the way flush to the bottom of the front block. So this screws in all the way and it's flush. So there's no threads. It protects it from wanting to snap off. It basically makes it one unit in essence. So with that, we're going to need the tools to do this. We're going to need Loctite 680, very important. A tap, and this is, once again, we already talked about this. You're going to tap this down, and I would take little bites. So I'd go down a little bit, come back out. Make sure you use some WD-40, some lubricant for that, and then you're going to screw in and test. And usually you'll feel it starting to get tight right about the 1/8 inch mark, and then you should be fine from there. After you've tapped it, if you have any oils in here, we recommend using acetone or some good old soap and water like Dawn dish detergent, and clean this off very good, because we want to make sure this is it seals up very good. So set the tap off the side, because we've already done that for this one. And what we're going to need is our 3/16 Allen key, because in the end of the version 2, the newest version or the current version of the VASA, the mini VASAs, it's broached on the inside. So this is the installation on and off. So the idea is there is no O-ring here. This is, in Shocktech's mind, a permanent fixture. We are essentially gluing this, where it's being screwed in, and then it's being glued and sealed with Loctite 680. And generally with Loctite, you don't need a lot, okay? But in this case, we're going to put a lot on, and at least more than you would normally put on. I like to shake up the Loctite, make sure everything's all mixed up. This bottle's getting a little low. Set the cap off to the side. And we're going to squirt a little bit in the threads here, on the leading edges of the threads. So that will be pushed in when it goes in. And then we're going to, I want to make sure that I have this all the way, and I'll show you after I get it on here how much I'm putting on. we'll be able to wipe a lot of this off after it squeezes out. Let me zoom in here. Zoom in a little closer. And so you can see that it's all the way, I know it's dark, it's all the way around that. And then in here you can see that we have on the leading edge. So we're going to start screwing this in. The nice thing about the Loctite here is this Loctite acts as a lubricant as it goes in. So I usually bring it in, unscrew it. I just want to kind of get it dispersed in there. There we go. We take our key. Make sure you have a firm grip on this, and the key's all the way inside as far as it will go. And this is going to go down until it's flush. Nice and tight. This is tight. And you saw that how I use this. I had the short end. I'm using the torque, but I'm holding this in my hand. Nice and tight. It should be flush. You're going to wipe off any excess Loctite that may have squeezed out in here. Wipe all that stuff off. Let me zoom out a little bit. And there we go. That is now installed. We're going to let this dry. Typically you want to let it dry for 24 hours before you put pressure on it. But the goal is this is not going to come undone, and it's going to be sealed airtight. That's the goal. I like to get a Q-tip and run a Q-tip inside. I want to get any green Loctite that may have got down in these threads. You know, I don't want to green Loctite other parts unnecessarily. So with that, we are now going to install the front block to the body. So let's get the tools we're going to need for that. First off, we're going to take off the LPC chamber. This is really nice. You just unscrew it. And we set that off to the side because we don't need that right now. So essentially we have the banjo bolt. The banjo bolt uses it is a 7/32 Allen key, so it's broached. So you need a 7/32 Allen key. We're going to need from your Allen key set here, or I have a Allen driver. This is a 5/64. And we'll need a little bit of lube right here. And we'll need some green Loctite. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to take off this one O-ring. I'm going to pre-lube some stuff. Okay. I like to put a little bit of lube on threads. Okay. And then I'm going to put just a little bit of lube on there. I'm going to wipe around with my fingers here in a second. Okay. Additionally, I'll put a little lube on this O-ring. We'll just set it right here. And then I like to just run a dab of just in there. Just so it's good. Because this is something that's designed to be disassembled and reassembled potentially. So I'm going to kind of smear that lube around right there and right there. Kind of lube that up. That's fine. Take the O-ring. We kind of just run it for our fingers. We'll set it on a paper towel right here. Set that aside. Wipe the fingers off. That's just enough to get that kind of just lightly lubricated. Okay. And now we just put the body off to the side. There's a little dog point set screw. I'm going to zoom in here. And this dog point set screw goes in this hole. You use the 5/64 Allen key. You're going to drop that down. And this is the anti-twist. One of the biggest issues with minis is that they, if you grab the reg, you could twist the front block back and forward. And Shocktech said, look, we don't want that. So they drilled a little hole. This hole corresponds with this hole. This dog point screw will reside in there, and this becomes a permanent installation. So the screw is kind of set to a certain height on that. And so kind of how we do this is I like to run the LPC banjo bolt in the front block. We put the second O-ring on the back. Just kind of push it down. There we go. Kind of get my tools ready. One thing to note here is if you're installing an LPC on a non-Shocktech front block or an older version pre 2017 front block, the banjo bolt may need to be modified a little bit, and the diameter of the banjo bolt may not be able to slip through your front block. It's an easy modification. If you order from one of our vendors like Dogfire Paintball or Angry Paintball or Bearded Works, they will offer the service, or should offer the service, if you request it to them, to turn that down a little bit because it's going on a War Games block, and then it will fit on that. But it's designed for our products, not necessarily everyone else's. We cannot guarantee that will fit on everyone else's. So what we're going to do here is we're going to run the Allen key. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. We're going to run the Allen key through here. We're going to put this little set screw on here. Okay, and now I just need a little dab, a green Loctite. It's not necessarily a permanent, but it's not really designed to come undone. And I can put my finger on the tip of it, and I'm going to back this in. I'm going to screw this in, and then I'm going to wipe off any excess Loctite that may just reside around the edge of this guy. Just dab it off with a Q-tip. And we're going to back this in pretty far because I don't want it to impede anything. So if I bring it in, and then I can wipe off the rest of the Loctite right there, it's kind of flush with the body. So now we can grab our 7/32 Allen key, and we can start. I'm just going to kind of hand spin this on. There we go. Get it started. You always want to kind of start the threads with the hand turn them on. And we're going to bring this down. And I'm not going to, it's going to be kind of loose. I'm going to grab this guy, and I'm just going to screw in a little bit. And I'll feel some resistance. I'm going to stop there. Just a little bit. I didn't turn it in much. I'm not bottoming out that screw. Now I'm going to finish tightening this down because I know that dog point set screw is now in the body, and now I'm going to finish. And all I need to do is just bring this till it's, I'm not tightening it down, and just bring it till it stops. That's all we need to do. The Loctite will set, and you'll be able to take the front block on and off with ease. Now, finally, the thing we can do just temporarily, because we're still going to put pneumatics on if you just want to kind of keep things from losing them. We're just going to screw this on temporarily. Put a little lube on it, screw it on. This takes a 3/32 screw on the end. This screw in here is green Loctited. So, and you don't need to crank down on this. This doesn't hold anything. It's just air pressure. You can just snug it down. If it leaks, just change the O-ring here. Generally, they never leak, so it's not an issue. But that is installing a Shocktech front block on a Shocktech body with the anti-twist dog point screw and the Shocktech Vasa. Thank you for watching.